Samsung's advanced smartphones, Hyundai's luxury cars, the songs of BTS and Blackpink, and Korean dramas loved around the world. Today these names are known by millions of people, but what many people do not know is, just a few decades ago, this same country was lying in ruins after war. Cities were destroyed, factories were silent, millions of people were unemployed, and the future looked uncertain, a country that once depended on foreign aid for survival. How did it become one of the world's strongest economies, technology leaders, and military powers? This is not just a story of development. This is the story of a nation that refused to give up. This is the incredible rise of South Korea. The story begins in 1910. For about 35 years, Korea lived under Japanese rule. During this period, the Korean people faced many struggles under colonial control. But in 1945, after Japan surrendered in the Second World War, Korea finally gained independence. However, freedom did not bring complete peace. Because of global political tensions, Korea was divided into two separate countries. In the north, North Korea was established with support from the Soviet Union. In the south, South Korea was created with support from the United States. The two countries followed completely different political systems, and this difference slowly turned into a dangerous conflict. On June 25, 1950, North Korea launched an invasion of South Korea. The Korean War had begun. The United States and United Nations forces supported South Korea. Meanwhile, China supported North Korea. For about 3 years, the war destroyed millions of lives and caused massive destruction. Finally, in 1953, a ceasefire agreement stopped the fighting, but the war had left South Korea devastated. The country was almost completely destroyed. Factories were closed, roads were damaged, schools and cities were in ruins. The economy had collapsed, unemployment was extremely high. South Korea had to depend heavily on foreign assistance, especially economic support from the United States. Many people around the world believed South Korea would never become a developed nation, but history was about to change. In 1961, a military coup brought a former army general to power. His name was Park Chung-hee. Many people criticized him for his authoritarian rule, but he had one clear goal: to transform South Korea from a poor and struggling nation into a strong industrial country. He understood one important truth: South Korea had very few natural resources, so the greatest resource of the country was its people. And this idea became the beginning of South Korea's greatest transformation. He understood that South Korea could not depend on foreign aid forever. A country could only become strong by building its own economy. So he created a new economic vision. The first goal was simple: create jobs and build industries. The government started developing small factories. At first, South Korea focused on simple products like clothing, shoes, and other low-cost goods. These products were exported to international markets. And slowly, South Korea began earning foreign currency. But Park Chung-hee had a bigger plan. He knew small industries were only the beginning. The next step was to build powerful industries. His vision was clear. Start with small factories, then build heavy industries. The government invested heavily in steel production. Modern steel factories were built. Then South Korea entered shipbuilding. After that came automobile manufacturing, heavy machinery, defense industries, and eventually advanced electronics. The country that once had almost no industrial power started building the foundation of a modern economy. The government also supported large companies with financial assistance and export opportunities. But there was one condition: they had to create products that could compete with the world. This strategy helped small companies grow into global giants. Companies like Samsung, Hyundai, and LG started their journey toward becoming some of the world's most recognized brands. But Park Chung-hee knew a strong country cannot be built only in cities. The villages also needed to develop. So the government launched one of South Korea's most important development programs, Semal Undong, also known as the New Village Movement. Under this program, the government provided villages with materials like cement and steel, but the villagers had to build their own roads, houses, bridges, and community facilities. People worked together to transform their own villages. Thousands of villages changed completely. New roads were built, homes improved, agricultural production increased, and rural incomes began to rise. At the same time, South Korea invested heavily in education. New schools were built, technical education expanded, science and engineering became national priorities. Because South Korea understood one important thing: today's students would create tomorrow's technology. This combination of industry, education, and hard work slowly changed the future of the nation. A country that once depended on foreign aid was now exporting products around the world. South Korea was no longer just rebuilding itself. It was becoming a global competitor. But economic growth was not the only priority. Because of continuous tensions with North Korea, South Korea also focused on strengthening its defense capabilities. The country invested in military training, defense technology, and weapons production. Over time, South Korea developed its own advanced defense industry. Today, it produces modern tanks, warships, missile systems, and advanced military technology. South Korea has become one of the world's most capable military powers. South Korean companies continued their incredible growth. Samsung transformed from a small trading company into one of the world's leading technology companies. Hyundai became a global automobile giant. LG became a major name in electronics and innovation. These companies helped spread the name Made in Korea across the world. But South Korea did not stop at manufacturing. It entered one of the most important industries of the modern era, semiconductors. These tiny chips are the hidden power behind today's smartphones, computers, electric vehicles, and artificial intelligence technology. South Korea became one of the world's leading countries in semiconductor production. In 1979, President Park Chung-hee was assassinated by Kim Jae-gyu, the head of South Korea's intelligence agency. His death shocked the entire nation. However, the economic foundation created during his era continued to influence South Korea's future. Over the following years, the country slowly moved toward democracy. Then came a historic moment. In 1988, South Korea hosted the Seoul Olympic Games. This event showed the world that South Korea was no longer a war-torn and poor nation. It had become a modern, confident, and rapidly developing country. But South Korea's global influence was not limited to technology and business. The country invested heavily in culture and entertainment, and a new global phenomenon was born. K-pop, Korean dramas, and Korean cinema began reaching audiences around the world. Artists like BTS and Blackpink became global icons. Millions of people started following Korean music, fashion, and culture at the same time. South Korea continued advancing in robotics, artificial intelligence, and scientific research. Today, it stands among the world's leaders in technology and innovation. The story of South Korea is a powerful reminder. A country's future does not depend only on natural resources. It depends on vision, education, innovation, hard work, and the determination of its people. A nation that once struggled to survive became one of the world's strongest economies, technology leaders, and cultural forces. This is the story of South Korea, a nation that rose from the ashes and proved to the world that nothing is impossible.